Good day, everyone, and welcome to our Coffee with Cadmes session. My name is Ulrike van Staden, and today we're going to have a look at a useful tool that is installed with SOLIDWORKS called SOLIDWORKS RX. Having a look at the why and where you can find RX sometimes, and this happens often, when you call your VAR, they will probably ask for your assistance in sharing an RX file. These files contained within RX can help solve problems and supply important information around your environment. Let's have a look at where you can find RX and how it works. Starting off with where can we find SOLIDWORKS RX, the easiest for me is to always go to my Windows Start button, type the letters in RX, and the application will pop up. From here I can run it as admin, pin it to my Start menu, pin it to my taskbar, or even add it as a shortcut onto my desktop. Clicking on the button once will open up the application. Once SOLIDWORKS RX is loaded, you'll see I have a bunch of tabs over here. My home tab. In here I have also a bunch of links, and each of these will actually link up with the tabs at the top. And then I also have two different safe modes that I can use to start SOLIDWORKS up in to see if there's anything wrong with my graphics card drivers or with any of the settings that I have preloaded inside of SOLIDWORKS. Next, let's have a look at our Diagnostics tab. Our Diagnostic tab allows us to see common system information settings that has been applied to our hardware and so that SOLIDWORKS RX is picking up. From here we can see our system manufacturer, the model, manufacturing, card manufacturer, card model. You can also have a look at the specific driver that's being used, and all of this information will help us find out what can we do on our hardware to improve our performance. Our legend at the bottom gives us also information as to how we can go about it. A green tick means it's passed the test. Yellow triangle means there is a warning, something we can look at to maybe improve on. The red circle with the white cross tells us that there's an actual error, something that it cannot process properly. And then these little information tabs that you see over here, this gives you more information about that specific system. Next, let's have a look at our System Maintenance tab. Our System Maintenance tab is a utility that allows us to remove temporary SOLIDWORKS and Windows files, and that will also perform maintenance on your system. Before using this, it's highly recommended that you first speak to whoever does the IT for your company, whether it be internal IT personnel or external IT company, to first confirm whether you can run the system maintenance. This is to ensure that you are not duplicating any tasks that they might already be doing, and also to make sure that they have a full backup of your computer before removing any of these temporary files. In here, you can choose which files to clean out. You can also choose the different locations for each of these. You can also choose to check the disk for any errors, as well as run a Windows defrag option. Again, it is highly recommended that you first speak to your IT provider before running the system maintenance from SOLIDWORKS RX. Next, we are going to have a look at Problem Capture. The Problem Capture tab allows us to capture a video of the problem that we are experiencing. Our first group over here is called Capture. This is where we can record the video. We can choose also a source. If you have different SOLIDWORKS applications, you can then choose which application to record the information of, or you can just choose to record the screen, your entire monitor. The second group is where we package the information. In here you will see all the contents for the zip file, and in here is important information for our system environment to completely understand what the current problem is. And then our third group is where we can describe the problem. Let's have a first look at capturing or recording the video. By clicking record, if I do not have SOLIDWORKS open, it will launch a SOLIDWORKS session immediately. If I do have a SOLIDWORKS session running and open at this moment, it will give me two options. The first would be to either use the current session of SOLIDWORKS that is running, and the second would be to start a new session of SOLIDWORKS. Along with that, it will give me the option to capture my problem. Let's put this over here in the corner. By clicking the record button, it will then have a red bar around my screen that it's recording, and it will allow me to duplicate the steps when I experience a specific problem. Let's start by opening up a simple part. From here, once I've opened up the part, I will then have the ability to do anything and everything inside of SOLIDWORKS as per usual, as the idea is to capture what is going wrong when I'm trying to do something in SOLIDWORKS. Let's add a cut over there just to demonstrate that we can do what it is that we need to. Let's cut it through all, and there we go. Okay, so once I have duplicated these steps to simulate the problem, I will then have the ability to either pause, restart, or finish my recording. It is important to try and get as close as possible as what it is that you are doing to get the same results when trying to capture the problem. I'm going to click on finish over here. SOLIDWORKS RX captures about 5 minutes of screen time, and once it's calculated that information, it will also include that in our packaged files that we are going to zip. Once we've done that, I'm going to click on package files. Over here, I'm going to save this to my desktop, just get rid of that previous one, and I'm going to save it. Please note that I do not change the file name. I leave it as is, as that includes important information, part of our serial number, and the day it was generated, so that when we do look at that from a reseller perspective or from a SOLIDWORKS point of view, that we have a clear picture of what is happening on your environment. Step 3 is going to allow me to describe my problem. In here, I can add a title, I can add a further description, adding in, for example, the different steps that I took to get to the specific point in view. I can also add other information to check so that we give enough information to the person we're sharing this information with, or just to explain clearly exactly what it is that we're trying to. We can also go and check the knowledge base, the SOLIDWORKS knowledge base, for a similar type of problem if there is any. I could choose a severity level. I'm going to choose a question here, and then just type in the reason why. There we go. By clicking OK, the system will then allow me to generate a new RX problem capture or to exit SOLIDWORKS RX. Next, let's go and have a look at our reliability tab. Our reliability tab allows us to see information with regards to how SOLIDWORKS is performing over a series of time. In here, we can see I have a graph, and on my graph I have these little dots. Each dot represents SOLIDWORKS being closed. Blue dots are normally when you've closed SOLIDWORKS yourself. Orange dots is when you had to force close SOLIDWORKS, and then red dots is when your SOLIDWORKS has crashed. It will also, on that specific day, show you information around the active session of SOLIDWORKS you were running, as well as what was happening in the background for Windows, so that gives us more information around what was happening at the time SOLIDWORKS crashed, or that you encountered a problem and had to force SOLIDWORKS to shut down, so that we can identify what the problem is. The reliability report is something that you would typically look at if you experience a lot of crashes or your SOLIDWORKS is feeling unstable. And if you do experience any of this, please get in contact with your supported reseller or your software reseller so that they can have a look at what's going on your hardware or with your SOLIDWORKS so that we can solve that problem. Then we have a tab over here called Files and Logs. The Files and Logs tabs allows us to view the RX files that was shared by you or by someone else. The RX File and Logs tab will then allow us to open up the file, the zip file, with a name that was saved with a problem capture. please do not change the name, as this will give us more information about your serial number, the version that you're using, as well as the date that this was created. In there, we will also have the ability to view any information of the system. We can play the video and have a look at other information as well. Then our last tab is our benchmark tab, and that is a tab that we can use when we bought new hardware and we need to test it to see how our SOLIDWORKS would be performing using a series of tests that has already been done on supported hardware. This is specific to CAD admins or IT admins, so please make sure that you do have enough time before running this benchmark test and that all the necessary hardware has already been installed. Hardware and software has already been installed before running this test. When running this test, it is important to make sure that SOLIDWORKS RX is the only application that is started. You can reboot your system before starting it, and then also have enough time available when running this test, as it can take up to about 30 minutes or more depending on how your hardware has been set up. And then you can interpret that information to have a look at how your hardware will perform against other supported hardwares. Right, that's it for our RX video to see how SOLIDWORKS RX actually work, understand how you can use diagnostics to see what's happening on your hardware, using the problem capture to record any issues that you might experience or problems, and also have a look at reliability and running benchmark tests. Please let us know if you have any questions. Thank you very much for joining.